From an undisclosed locations for reasons of security and insecurity, we present to you tonight MnRTV Live Show. And tonight, we've got our very special guest, Zion Zeta, with her new book, Connecting the Stars. And she's going to be coming on our show at 8:15 p.m. tonight. And she's an ET, extraterrestrial star child. And she's been on our show before, and she's a wonderful guest. I'm all excited for tonight. Last week we went on the show, but without further ado, let me introduce to you the one and only, my co-host of the evening, all the evenings, the madman himself, Mario. Welcome to the show.
Yes, we're here. We're back. I think we were here last week. Time is just flying so fast, you know?
Yeah, we weren't on TV live. I mean, we weren't live. I mean, we didn't do a show last week on the MnRTV Live Show, but tonight we've got Connecting with the Stars, Zion Zeta with her book, and it's amazing. And it's going to be talking about military abductions, online harassments, and a whole lot more. And you know, when we've got Zion on, it's going to be an exciting show, and we can't wait for that. All right, this show's been brought to you by the Montreal Anti-Illuminati Task Force. Go ahead.
Well, I always look forward to doing the show. No matter what, I'm always happy that we're here. This is where we want to be. Hot night day like today outside, we can be in a beach. We're in here doing a show to tell you people out there what you want to know, exactly what you want to know and see, right? So I guess I'm going to be switching on over to show you what you want to see, given the introduction, the news and the break, and then our guest comes in. So I'm going to be switching on over. Please, people, stay down and relax. There's going to be a lot of information that we're going to give at you today. So if you have socks on, make sure that you're holding them because you might lose them. Right there?
That's right, because we've got a whole world of information tonight. And let's begin right about now.
All right. So here she is, the MnR Productions Mariolaur, blogspot.ca, with beautiful Montreal with lots of action. And here's a description of the show, and right there we see we start in 2006 right there if you want to see some of our classics. And if you don't see these right here, very simple, refresh whatever browser you're using or what's reload, and right here you want to be chatting with us and getting out questions to our guests tonight or to me and Robbie. It's right there. You can do it right there. Chatango. And we're going to be getting into the pictures of the week, right?
That's right. All right, dudes, let's get going. Let's get on with the show. And here it is. This is still better than this. Being a conspiracy theorist tinfoil hat is better than being blinded by the sheeple that don't know what is going on with the New World Order. And in fact, even more than that, they don't know anything of what's going on in the matrix system that we are living in right now.
But that is exactly why we're doing the MnRTV Live Show. So like that, we all become these instead of these, because we're not blind any longer. We're wearing tinfoil hats. Well, I'm wearing my baseball cap. Yes. Suivant next.
Not knowing the truth doesn't make you ignorant. Not wanting to know the truth is what makes you ignorant. I like that. In fact, that reminds me of an old wrestling. Like in wrestling, we used to have like these catchphrases. That should be our catchphrase. We should learn it by heart and say it all the time. Do you agree?
Yes, or put it on T-shirts and everywhere. Put it on big giant billboards. But that the government would not want yet, right?
That's right.
Suivant. Yes, suivant next is Muhammad Ali, and don't use the N-word. Well, you could say the N-word in this one, but don't use it.
My consciousness won't let me go shoot my brother or some darker people or some poor, hungry people in the mud. For the big, powerful America. Anti-shoot them for what? They never called me N. They never lynched me. They didn't put no dogs on me. They didn't rob me of my nationality, rape me, kill my mother and father. Shoot them for what? How can I shoot them? Poor people, just take me to jail. And he didn't go into Vietnam War, Muhammad Ali.
No, no, he died, of course, because we didn't do a show when he died. But it's like no, he didn't want, and he lost his title because of that. And he was a good man, unfortunately, good leader. Who could say no to that? Who would be against that? I don't know. Suivant next.
All right, the next one right here
Here.
is the pagan Roman Empire never fell. It just changed its name and hid by infiltrating Christianity. It sure did in the Roman Vatican. I mean, in the vaults of the Vatican, deep below the Vatican, there's rumors to be giants down there. So, and that I think that's just the tip of the iceberg, the whole problem of the system.
And the Pope. Who likes the Pope out there? If you like the Pope and you like the Queen, and who's the other ones? And you don't know about Rothschild, well, hey, you're watching the right show. That we always talk about these people. We expose them. Who else is there? The politicians.
The politicians, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Illuminati, the New World Order, Henry Kissinger. There's so much. There's so much. There's so much.
They're all part of the Roman Empire, right?
Because of time constraints. Yes. The next one. Your conspiracy theories are just that, theories. They're not set in stone. The depopulation agenda is written in the Georgia Guidestones. It's literally set in stone. And that's another catchphrase we should use in a t-shirt. And for those folks that don't know, because it's a worldwide transmission with new viewerships all the time, new people, the Georgia Guidestones do talk about depopulation. Just Google the Georgia Guidestones, and it's a whole set of rules. And they want to put the population of the world to under 500 million. We're what now, 7 or 8 billion people? To under 500 million. I guess that's for depopulation, chemtrails, depopulation of wars and
fluoride, chemtrails,
viruses, poisonous food. It goes on and on.
But we've done a show. We've done a show about it. So you just go on our channel. You just go on our channel and you type in Georgia Guidestones, and you'll see our video we did a while ago.
Exactly.
Suivant next.
Pyroclastic flow, cauliflower-shaped clouds of hot gas and dust resulting from the release of rapid, high-pressure, high-temperature explosive energy with enough force to pulverize rocks, steel, and concrete, volcanic eruptions, and W Trade Center demolition 9/11.
There's a difference. There's not much of a difference because those buildings were taken down. We can't forget that. Biggest false flag around.
Yes.
Suivant next.
Our generation is becoming so busy trying to prove that women can do what men can do, that women are losing their uniqueness. Women weren't created to do everything a man can do. Women were created to do everything a man can't do. And that's a little brain teaser right there for you folks.
To get you thinking here on the MnRTV Live Show, what we like to do all the time. You must think when you come and watch our show. We like when people think. Suivant next. Yeah.
The government is playing you like a naked woman playing chess. The distraction is there, but the game is real. Another great catchphrase right there. Exactly.
Yes, that's why they're so popular. That when we put them on the conspiracy talk on both Google Plus and Facebook, they get lots and lots of hits and likes, and that's why they appear on here.
Did you know America never gained its independence? Globalists orchestrated the revolution to use this country as a spearhead to a new world order. And on May 1st, 1776, the Illuminati was founded in America and shortly after adopted the Declaration of Independence on July 4th. The number 1776 is a number of the occult. This is why the One World Trade Center building stands 1,176 feet tall at the tip of the sphere. Exactly, the Illuminati. We always hear about the Illuminati. Everybody hears about the Illuminati, but most people have no damn clue what it is. They probably think it's just a game or something. but it's not. It's reality, and it's something of reality that is more concerned to anybody than everything, because this is reality. Not your iPhones, not your games, and not your soap operas, folks. This is the reality, the nature of it. The Illuminati do exist, and they are controlling us in the Matrix.
And they're controlling these two right there.
Do not get your perception deceived. I think Trump was created to make us settle for Hillary. I've heard of that too. Our information does point out that Hillary will take it, but maybe Trump was created for a distraction for us to get us Hillary. But from what I'm hearing is that Trump is doing very well right now. So they have to keep it close, folks. They can't just have like Trump being down here and Hillary down here. They have to keep it like sort of like in a fight or in a hockey match or a soccer match. It has to be kind of close to keep it interesting. Because if it's one-sided, it won't be interesting. To make it look more real.
Well, who if he wouldn't be there, who else would be there that would do the same job?
I was thought it'd be Jeb Bush or something.
No, not good enough.
Because no one would vote for him. No one would vote for third Bush.
Maybe next term he'll be back, Jeb Bush. Suivant next. Speaking of Hillary.
You think the judge who left the rapist off with 6 months is bad? How about an attorney who got her client 1 year and 4 years probation instead of 40 years in prison for raping a 12-year-old? Pretty awful, huh? Well, that attorney is now the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. Where is the outrage?
That's an eye-opener right there.
Exactly. I even wonder if she's human.
But twisted, very, very twisted if she is humane. And she's going to be the next president of the US of A. Could you picture that?
No, I can't.
No.
No one.
Suivant next.
Coca-Cola, over 4 years. What's this? Over a pound and one soda. Oh boy, all the sugar.
Yes.
And a big can.
One soda per day for 1 month, 28 days, 455 tablespoons.
What I don't get is how come it's selling so well? I don't get it. Like where I work, it's selling and selling and selling, like Diet Coke, Pepsi. It doesn't stop. If it's so bad, I don't get it.
Well, it's like CNN. Why are people watching CNN and they know it's garbage? Why are people watching CNN?
Most people do know that Coke is no good, but they still drink it.
Because it tastes good.
It does taste good. I'm glad I cut down on it a whole lot. I used to drink 2 cans a day in 2008. 2 cans a day, 2-3 cans.
And when it's all chemicals too, what they put in there. I used to clean my 1909 American Penny that I found. I cleaned it with Coca-Cola.
You cleaned the engine of a car with that.
Yes, rust and all that. Suivant next. A chart for all you brains out there.
The 1% don't want the 5% to wake up the 90%. That's right, they don't. 1%.
So here, yeah, the black is the 1%.
The 4% are the sell-up people, the traders. 5% no, and are trying to wake up the 90%. 90. I guess we're in the blue.
Yes, all you viewers out there, and without the government page trolls, which they would be number 4%.
The trolls, yeah. The trolls, it's 5%, 4%, yeah. The trolls, the government page shills, and everybody else that's involved in this.
Interesting facts.
Greatest American massacre, huh? Guess what? Gay Americans matter.
Yeah, the Indians. How many did they get massacred? And nobody out there cares. But we here care.
Basically.
Poor Indians out there. So you see it. Now we're getting into the Orlando shooting.
Right there. Let's go.
Okay.
June 12, 2016, Orlando massacre. And it's David Rockefeller's birthday. George H.W. Bush's birthday, the end of the Bilderberg meeting. False flag anybody. Does this ring a bell to anybody? Anybody in the chat room? Anybody anywhere?
But
That's all I've got to say.
we're going to be getting into it in the news, so that's why I'm rushing to do these pictures. But this is something for people out there to think about and know about. And this one is another popular one.
One of Orlando's premier gay clubs. No CCTV footage of the mass shooting and 3-hour hostage standoff. What about nobody had this cameras? I mean, cell phones to film. Makes you wonder. Okay.
And then this, how did this gun here go inside that cinema without people? I mean, gay club, whatever. It's all the same crap. Gay club, cinema, without getting noticed.
Yeah, how the heck did that happen? They're going to summer club in Florida to get in a club with this. Yeah, how do you get in there? And isn't the state supposed to be like they pat you down and everything? And the guy just walks in. Strange, folks.
And the last picture.
How to deal with mass shootings in the U.S. determined of the alleged perpetrator. Muslim, non-Muslim, call it shooting, terrorist. And there, I'm not going to go through it all, but it says it right there, folks. Yeah.
Know the difference. So that's the pictures of the week that are found on both Facebook Conspiracy Talk right here and Google Plus Conspiracy Talk. And we keep getting more and more members, but we're not going to go into it right there. And then, of course, when the first thing you'll see here is the post for this week's show. So all you people out there, all you good folks out there, the supporters, viewers, just come here, click on this, and it'll bring you directly to our blog where you can see us live. Right there, Robert?
In person. And there's a Chatango right there. And it's there's a lot of action going on, which we love.
Yes, there's a lot of action. But now we're going to be getting inside the news. Oh, I love the news. Let me just make sure here that it's big enough for people to see. Oh yeah, look at this.
Beautiful, right there. 5 reasons to question the official story of the Orlando shooting.
Nothing made sense. Say with this, me, I don't like this. This is like Hollywood filming over here. Yes. But we're gonna go.
Evidence.
Yes.
As more and more evidence regarding the mass shooting in Orlando gay club that resulted in the death of at least 52 people, many more injured, signs are increasingly pointing towards the possibility of a false flag operation. And here's the 5 reasons. The FBI knew about the shooter and investigated him prior to the attack. The shooter had a connections to a known ISIS recruiter. The shooter's father was a former Afghan presidential candidate who supported the Taliban. The FBI's history in creating terrorism.
Where's the passport? Nobody found this passport. How come nobody found this passport this time around?
I know, exactly, and it says that Omar Mir Sadiq Mateen has now revealed the gunman in the Orlando club attack. According to mainstream reports, Mateen carried a AR-15 rifle with a handgun in the Pulse Club around 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. and started shooting, killing 50 people and wounding 53. A standoff in shooting which lasted about 3 hours before a SWAT team crashed into the building with an armored vehicle and killed Mateen. How the hell does it take like that long? A whole team of SWAT team 3 hours before they could take out the guy. I don't know. Sounds very fishy to me. I mean, I don't want to put anything in anybody's head, but it makes you wonder. What are your thoughts on this, madman?
I honestly don't like. There's something that doesn't make sense here. There's something definitely that doesn't make sense here. When we dissect it from left to right, nothing makes sense. This is CNN propaganda from CNN trying to brainwash people. I think it's a false flag. And how many? 50 people. We didn't even see ambulances. All I saw was them carrying the cadavers and all the bodies that were injured in pickup trucks. That's what I seen. I didn't even see hardly any ambulances, and it looked pretty quiet out there. And there was one person, from what I hear, there was more than just one shooter. There was more. This is all CIA. And nobody, that's the thing that I don't get. Nobody here says that, you know, it's like, it's all, I find it's all a lie, because nobody has the right, real story.
Maybe it's MK Ultra, the Manson candidate, Manchurian candidate. And here it goes down. I'm not going to read all of this, obviously, but a terrorist suspected, armed to the teeth, is storming a public place and killing scores is actually a very familiar script. The FBI wrote several such scripts in 2015 alone, including entrapping and arresting a mentally ill suspect after providing him with an arsenal of deadly weapons almost identical to the arsenal recently employed in Florida. It does make you wonder. I mean, why would they write scripts like that?
And why in Florida? So many things are happening. Girl gets assassinated, deals, then an alligator. No, that wasn't in Florida. No, sorry.
No, that was, I think, in Atlanta. It was a place like that. I don't remember.
No, Disneyland. But anyhow, you know.
Exactly, folks. So that's very, you know, you have to look at that and look at every possible angle of what's going on here.
But I still look, the AR-15 rifle, that's a big rifle. How do you just walk inside a club with that? How?
I don't know.
A club, a gym, a cinema, you can't just walk in there with that. You know, you stand out. Who controls ICs? But this we know, you know, it's CIA. Oh, by the way, all the links that I'm putting here will appear in the description once the show is complete. And what did the good folks say here?
Oh, they're talking right here. Some say the biblical times unfold like it was planned long ago. Oh yeah, I feel there's something up in the air because everything, it's as if the world's gone crazy at full throttle here. I mean, compared to, like, say 20 years ago, we thought the world was crazy, but now it's like really gone crazy. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, the more we're here, the more, well, yeah, but they want to control. It's all about gun control. Look right here. See? It's all about gun control. This is what I think. It's all about gun control.
It is about gun control. It is, I'm telling you, because why else? And even Obama did say it last week, well, when this happened, that you want a country where there's guns like this. He said something along the lines. So right there and then, you know,
when you disarm the people in the country, what happens? You control them.
A dictator. It's like happened in Nazi Germany in 1934, I believe. And yeah, and they talk about all kinds of stuff. CIA, for sure, the CIA was involved in this.
And it's to start a war against the gays too, unfortunately, right?
I know.
Because now it's like there's war between heterosexuals and homosexuals. There's wars.
And transgender soon.
When the whole world, the power is in love, not hate. Anyways, this one, I don't know if you want to look at it, but there's quite a bit of information. And
but don't forget, the links will be up in the descriptions after. So, folks, you know.
Yes, Polly. Yes, Lilian. Yes, you're right. By the way, hi guys. Thank you for watching.
Indeed, it's wonderful having you guys.
Okay, another one here. Orlando shooter, right here. Orlando ISIS. shooters closely connected to U.S. government ex-CIA contract. Yes.
Omar Mateen, the suspected in the Orlando nightclub shooting, was very closely connected to the U.S. government, which is committing crimes on American soil using their own operatives, according to Steve D. Kelly, a former NSA CIA contractor. Mateen, armed with assault weapons, stormed the Pulse Club on Sunday, killing 49 people. Now they say 49. Thought it was 50. Ugh. And injured 53 others in the gay club, making it the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. The suspect, identified by U.S. media, alleged Daesh, ISIL sympathizer, is U.S. citizen of Afghan descent from Port St. Lucie, Florida. My gosh.
And there it is. He doesn't look the same person, eh? Does he?
No, just the eyes maybe, but it looks like two different people, like a patsy or something. I wonder. What do you think?
I don't buy none of these. This is as bull crapola like the Boston Marathon, and I didn't buy it yet. I don't buy deals. They were all actors and actresses that were there.
Apparently, the shooter used to go to the gay bar a lot. Used to go there often.
It was well known.
Yeah, and what I think it's possible that he was gay himself, and because of the religion and that, he couldn't take it anymore because he was apparently gay and he was fighting inside and he blew up. And he blew up in his mind and he went crazy. That's what they were speculating, the doctors.
But now they're saying his wife.
Oh yeah, his wife is involved. She might get charged for this.
But where does the wife come in all these?
I don't know.
Now another news beat.
Confirmed FBI introduced Florida shooters to informants.
There it is again. Ayazan wrote this.
Pardon?
Ayazan wrote this news beat.
It is now confirmed that in addition to the 2 investigations and 2 interviews, the Florida terrorist suspect Omar Mateen was also approached by informants working for the U.S. Federal Bureau, the FBI, over a 10-month period. FBI spied on Orlando's gay club terrorist Omar Mateen for 10 months. He was on the watch list. And
2013. Look.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And it says that he would make inflammatory statements. He made colleagues claiming family connections to Al Qaeda. Mateen also told workers he had a family member who belonged to Hezbollah, a Shia network that is a bitter enemy of ISIS. The network he pledged alliance to the night of the carnage, Comey noted. The FBI's Miami office opened an inquiry into Mateen. And they watch us. And if we post something up on Facebook, let's just say that's counter-terrorism stuff, they would take us off right away. They would handcuff us and everything. And this guy is allowed to go on and say these things. He's on a watch list, and he's able to do all of this. And I heard he's also he had mental issues. Well,
that's what they're saying.
It sounds something out of a script.
I'm telling you, nothing makes sense out of these.
Exactly. Yeah, the wife is facing some kind of charges.
There, Boston Marathon.
The Orlando shooting, the Boston Marathon. What about the Aurora shooting, Batman? You remember that?
Cinema. Yeah, cinema.
Yeah. It's just unreal. This happened Sunday. I remember. This happened Sunday, and I was talking about it. And it's now you can't go no more clubs. Whether it's gay clubs, normal clubs, you can't go to cinemas. A lot of fear mongering.
They want to put cameras everywhere.
They want to control us, take the guns away, like that, and fear. And then they're gonna put more and more cameras everywhere. I mean, we already in Montreal we have people with cops with cameras recording everything we do. It's an Orwellian state that they're doing. It's gonna be worldwide grid, a prison plans, like Alex Jones says, and you will be really caught in the matrix, unable to get out of it.
Hmm. Oh yes, this one right here. You see
The,
this?
yeah, the United States of Paranoia. I see them.
See? 2000, I mean 2016, June 11, this was written, and this happened June 20th.
I know, but it's
June
just
12th, sorry, June 12th, not 20th. We're the
June 12th.
20th today.
When was it written?
Oh, here, right there, June 11th, and this
Yeah,
happened June 12th.
it's yeah, it's very very strange. It's just like so surreal. Like what? Unless it happened at 2 in the morning, but like CNN, Huffington Post said they had all the stuff written, but yet by a day. Like what? It's what? I'm speechless, folks. I don't know what to make of it. It's almost as the script. They got their script. Okay, this is the news coming out now. Like David Icke always says it. He always points out that the news you see, even Alex Jones, it's all fabricated in the matrix system, that which we are conditioned to believe what is happening, when in reality we don't know what's really going on, unless you speak to people in a certain area.
Makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what they know and what they don't want us to know. But right there, you see, here it
Exactly.
says the 12th, and these the 11th. That's when it was posted. Thoughts, people? Anything?
Yes, yes. In fact, that should be like our number one post, our number one link to the show tonight for proof, because they say the proof is in the pudding,
But that
and
is
the pudding.
exactly why I put at least. But oh, wait a second here. Wait, was that? Yeah. Speaking of control, hold on there, Robin. Not this one, this one. Now, all you dog lovers out there, speaking of control, what about this?
Quebec to consider province-wide law on pit bulls. Yes, there's been a lot of stuff going on. A woman was bitten by a pit bull and she got killed, unfortunately. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing pit bull attacks everywhere, and it makes me wonder. I mean, is there a reason for this? I mean, all of a sudden, one person gets bitten. Have you noticed in the news when something happens, it happens everywhere else? Like there's always like something. Like how come all of a sudden?
Well, Diaz, my friend Diaz, for me, it's the same equivalent to gun
Slide.
control. Gun control, because how would you dare walk inside a house knowing that there's a pit bull there? Would you?
Well, no.
There you go. So because you know that the pit bull would attack you. It's the same thing with a gun. It's the same thing. You wouldn't go inside a person's whole house knowing he has a gun and you're going to steal his house because you're going to get shot. Well, this is the same thing. You know what this means? That we're closer to the new world order. That's what they want. They want to get rid of the guns down south and heal the dogs, and then they'll control us.
And
That's my thought on this.
I have another theory also. It started with the smoking. They made people smoke, get addicted to make a lot of money. Now now they're sick and everything. Now they've done enough of that. Now they say no more smoking, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, but it's control. Like no smoking zones. You can't smoke here. You can't do this. Sooner don't drink your coffee in the car. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's all about control, folks. It's all about it. It's a psyop. Even no smoking. I mean, that I agree. It's no good to smoke, but it's just like they want to control. It's just all part of a system to systematically dismantle our rights, folks. That's everywhere. That is a new step into the new world order to control us all.
Well, they wanna like control us and control us to do what they did in Mussolini time,
Except this time it'll be worldwide. It won't just be one country.
Well, that's why it's a new world order, right?
The capstone to the pyramid will be put there. It will be put there. The capstone will be finalized.
I guess, should we talk UFOs or get into one news? Because that's all I had to say about about
We might as well get into UFOs before Trish comes on and our guest Zion Zeta comes on. All right, right here, folks, it is UFO.
Yes, this right there.
Rare magic ring UFO over Magic Castle in Disneyland sparks panic, but skeptics say UFO was only a smoke ring. Yeah, sure.
You know what I think that was? A wormhole.
From a portal opening up. Footage uploaded recently, very possible, to YouTube showed the moments that hundreds of tourists were nearly thrown into panic over fears of imminent alien invasion after a large mystery black ring UFO appeared over the Magic Castle in Disneyland, Anaheim, California. Although members of the UFO community have declared the black ring formation of a super rare form of an alien UFO, and others claim it was a portal to another dimension that formed over the world's famous theme park, skeptics have dismissed the fanciful speculation, saying it was only a smoke ring. But UFOs believers insisted it was a UFO or a portal to another dimension being formed over the park. That's very true. It could have been that, you know, and there's the video right there, and it's very promising, the video. And hundreds of tourists at Disneyland were baffled when the solid-looking black ring appeared hovering the sky over the famous Magic Castle. Some thought it was an alien UFO, while others feared that aliens were about to emerge through a portal to another dimension. How close are we, folks? How damn close are we to this to happen? That the ring's going to open up and the aliens are going to come out of it for the world to see. How close are we, folks? You guys tell me that in the chat room.
But instead, they're worrying about Orlando shootings that never took place. That was all fixed and fake and hoax and that, when we should be all worrying about our human race, our humankind.
That's being manipulated and being just thought processed like that. We could all become just people that just believe the mainstream news without investigating. And what they wrote here, somebody, I have expected an alien portal to open up through the ring as we're gazing up in disbelief. And speaking of aliens and extraterrestrial, our guest Zion Zeta will have a lot to say about this tonight. That is for sure.
Yes, which is coming up, and that's why we're talking. We pulled this up because Trish wants to have her say. Then we'll get our guests. But look at these people out there. Just get there and look at this when you get a chance. No, not Neil, but later on, get there and you'll see what we're talking about here. But something is definitely up. They've opened up the portals.
So let's wonder what's going to happen, and one day something will come out, if it hasn't already, which I'm sure it has, but I mean on a world scene where everyone can see, a global scale level.
They're up to something. They're very, very up to something.
Yes, exactly, folks.
All right. So now we're going to be getting to the break.
Exactly. So, folks, don't go away because Zion Zeta's coming on. We can't wait for her to come on our show and talk and let us know what is going on and about her new book, which I can't wait to get. But let's get Trish on, folks, and we'll be back right after this little short break.
So don't go anywhere. And here she is. Here's Trish.
Zion Zeta is a 23-year-old author of Connecting the Stars. She is an alien abductee and contactee, as well as a military abductee. Zion had a spiritual awakening in 2010 after being confronted by a reptilian council in a vision and told that she was not fulfilling her agreement, which was a contract to reincarnate on Earth for a specific purpose. Zion has witnessed black helicopters and experienced electronic interference, phone tapping, internet surveillance, hacked online blogs, mysterious calls at 3.00 am, and had an encounter with the Men in Black. But not every experience was negative, as she eventually encountered a militaristic group of benevolent draconians. Zion is a tarot expert with over 6 years of experience and has done readings for thousands of people online as well as in person. She is also a self-taught graphic and web designer, web developer and brand designer, as well as an intuitive business coach for spiritual and creatives who want to build and launch their online business.
Thank you very much there, Trish. What could we do without you, right? What can't we do without you? You're so important to us, and that's why we're always glad to have you, right? So, yeah, I'm waiting for Robert to come back, but he should be back any minute now.
I'm here.
There, real.
Yeah, I'm just answering some emails from people here while on the break,
Robbie, there's something I want to tell you. As of late, maybe within the year, I've been getting always a strange feeling that someone wants to strangle me. Have you ever get that? Maybe I'm just being paranoid. But I get that feeling sometimes that someone wants to strangle me or hit me behind my head. Not just someone, but something out there, a force.
Oh, well, I don't know. Well, I told you I get all kinds of, I get attacked sometimes in the middle of the night myself. And I get all these weird dreams of demons and stuff. Then I wake up and it was just a dream, but the evil is right there. The evil, you can feel it. It's a bone-chilling evil that smells of death. It smells of death, and you can feel it. I saw the eyes in the dream. It was a possessed dog that wanted to hurt me and eat me alive, but it's an evil that despises you. It makes the evil of, let's say, I don't know, somebody that's evil. Who's evil? Hitler or somebody like that is nothing compared to this supernatural evil. Is that what you're talking about?
No, outside. Like if I'm just like right now, I feel like someone wants to strangle me and rip my neck apart. That's the feeling I get. I don't know if it's normal, if it's everybody out there, but it's the hatred is out there and it's strong. That's the problem. And as we're getting Zion Zeta, I wonder if she will, if she ever experienced any of these before, or if anybody out there, all you intruders out there, all you people that have woken up, if you notice that you're experiencing the same experience,
Exactly, folks. I know. I just wonder. I mean, is this evil?
Yes, of course.
Evil sense, this evilness that like I'm sure you've had it. It's bone-chilling evil, and you just can feel it in my mind when I sensed it. It's just an evil that frightens you, that you don't want to be in the same room with this evil. And the only thing I can think of, it's demonic evilness. Exactly. Oh, Lalanne's right. Yes, Lalanne. I think the same thing too as you do. Just the Lord Jesus Christ will protect us. Yes, that's what I did. I had to pray for it, but just in between praying, you sense this evilness, and that's exactly what I sensed, And it's very, very important to pray, because if you don't pray, you are messed up, and it won't go away.
It's just to tell you that if I'm getting this and I believe in Christ, imagine all the people out there that don't believe in Christ and they're hated no matter what.
Exactly, folks. So exactly. So we are not we get it too, and we believe in him. So imagine we don't. All right. So are you getting the Zion, Mario?
I will try, but
because we want to have her live on the Hangout, not through Skype. So folks, just bear with us. It's gonna happen.
I'm trying. Let's just
okay. You sent it out?
Yes, I sent her the invitation. Let's hope that she'll come on right now. Hopefully she won't be anywhere too far.
All right, folks. So we're gonna just have to wait a little bit and see what's happening right there.
Hopefully she'll come on soon because, you know, we want her own.
Exactly. Okay. Okay, so we just have to wait. Okay. Okay, right here. She'll be waiting. Okay.
Yes. Should be coming on any minute now.
You click on the link, right?
Yes.
That you
All
sent
she
her.
has to do, click on the link. And she'll be coming on any minute. Patience, people out there. Patience. Patience is key. Patience is very, very, very important. And she will be coming on soon, I hope.
Exactly. Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I see. It says she's doing the video call.
Yes. Welcome to the show.
Hello
Zion,
there, gentlemen. How are you?
I'm great. And yourself, it's great to have you back on our show. We've been waiting for you to come back very impatiently. It's great to see your beautiful smile. Welcome to the MnRTV Live Show.
Yes, thank you so much to both of you, Mario and Robert, for having me tonight and for giving me the chance, the opportunity, and the space to be here with both of you and everybody else that is tuning in live from everywhere, every place around the world. It's very exciting for me to be here with all of you tonight. I am a little bit sick. In case you guys are noticing my voice cracking up, I apologize for that, but the show must go on.
That's right. The show must go on. And tomorrow is Connecting to the Stars, your book. It's being released, as we all know. And you must be excited for this. Will it be available tomorrow on Amazon?
Yes, indeed, Robert. The book Connecting the Stars is going to be available tomorrow on Amazon. I believe it's going to be available worldwide. At least that's what they told me. But you know that things can go wrong at the very last hour. But hopefully things will work well on the release of the book, because I have been having some challenges releasing the book already on my own, and I have no doubt that perhaps there might be some interference at some point during the release, but hopefully that won't be the case. A lot of people have asked me if the book is going to be available on Kindle. Unfortunately, not yet. Because again, since it's self-published, I am doing everything on my own. You know, I wrote the book on my own. I did the cover of the book on my own. So everything was made by myself. And so since I am the only person dealing with all the technical difficulties, if you will, and every single other detail, I'm having some struggles handling different things at the same time, aside from college and the finals week that I am currently in. But yes, it will be available also on Kindle for those of you who want to download the digital version of Connecting the Stars. Just not yet, not tomorrow, when the official paperback version of the book will be released. But patience, everyone, it is going to be released.
Yes, I'm gonna have to get myself a copy. But right now, I'm reading a David Icke book that's 900 pages. I only read 100 pages.
Wow.
And because I have a lot of I don't know if you've heard of his work, A Perception of Deception. He talks about that we live in a matrix.
I have heard about living in a matrix, but I had no idea about the book. What is the book about?
Everything: the Illuminati, aliens, reptilians, hybrids, false flags, just about everything. I haven't read it yet, but it talks a lot about the computer, the universe being a computer holographic universe.
Wow. And I believe you also have asked me about the Mandela effect in
Yes.
2 locations, but I am not familiar with the term, so I can't give you an exact answer.
Oh, okay. It's like because people said like Nelson Mandela died many years ago, and actually he died recently, and it's like something that's like it's as if our universes, our multiple dimensions are coming to reality, sort of like in the effect that like stuff in the Bible has been changed and it wasn't there. Stuff like also like
JC
products.
Penney, JC Penney, apparently it's spelled differently.
Yeah, you should Google the Mandela effect. It's very hard to talk about it. We might be having an expert on the Mandela effect in August because soon we're going to be going on vacation. But it's very, very strange, like sort of like words, like movies, like Star Wars. In Star Wars, it said, "Luke, I am your father," like throughout the 80s. And now apparently it's been changed to, "No, I am your father." And people are wondering how the heck did that happen? Is there like time of secret synchronicity of different dimensions coming into like a parallel universe is getting mixed up, and we're thinking maybe CERN opened up something.
Oh, interesting, because I have heard about people being able to detect when, like an alternate parallel timeline where they have had something happen, like an event or something, and then they experience it again in the physical plane. And when they usually had this happen inside a dream. And so and this, in a way, some people have said that this is called the glitch in the matrix. I'm not sure if you guys have heard that term in the movie. When usually a person gets a deja vu, that, for example, you feel that something happened in specific already in the past, but it's happening right now. Some people say that that is the supposed glitch in the matrix. And so that is quite a strange thing to say, because there really isn't a lot of information out there about the phenomenon of the deja vus and the origin and what causes this. But I do believe that it may have to do with timelines perhaps merging together, or you catching up to the timeline that caused you this deja vu.
Yeah, because the thing is, yes, I'm always using the glitch in the matrix. I'm always how do you call it, hashtagging that everywhere. And the thing is, I do wonder if there's not an alternate copy of me somewhere else, like, and a copy of Mario and a copy of you elsewhere in the multiverse. What are your thoughts on this?
It makes sense because, you know, we are all infinite beings. This is something that the general has pointed out to me, and for those of you who don't know who the general is, he happens to be featured on the cover of my book, Connecting the Stars, and he is actually a benevolent draconian being, which is something that is not talked about too often, because people tend to, you know, judge based on appearance. It's just like right now, let's say that Robert is covered in tattoos and piercings, and his tongue is split in two, and so
Oh boy.
and then I say something like, "Oh, Robert must be an evil person because he's covered in tattoos and piercings. You know, maybe he even sells drugs or something crazy like that, right?" And so the same thing happens with some reptilians and draconians, where people tend to judge them not because of their actions, but based on their appearance and the reputation of some of them who have done atrocities to other people. And so the general himself told me this, that yes, we are all infinite beings because we all come from a source, a creator. They don't refer to it as God, but they do refer to it as, they say that this eternal cosmic being that is infinitely creative does not really have a name. Nobody really knows if this energetic source that brought all of us into existence has a name, but they prefer to call it him or her by source or infinite energy is what they call it. And because of this, they tell me that we are all infinite energies, and that when we die, we don't really die, because life doesn't really end there, because we are all infinite energy, and so we continue living on and on for forever, pretty much. The only difference is that we change our little meat suits, as I kind of tend to call it, And so it's pretty much the same thing like going out in a different car. Like you have a red car and then you just walk out of your car and drive a blue car and so forth. And so they say that it can be quite similar in this way when it comes to us changing our bodies when we pass away. And I kind of lost track here as to why am I talking about this. I kind of forgot the question here.
Hey, it's okay. It happens all the time. And after that, do you think, well, infinite consciousness, that once we die, we go somewhere else in another dimension that's no pain and all happiness, or do you believe that we go into a dark place where we burn?
I believe that you create your own hell based on your own actions. It's just that religion, again, creates all these rules and all these cause and effect situations to manipulate people through fear. And so it makes sense that religion created a false hell so that people submit to their own laws and their own rules. Because again, when you utilize fear, you are able to control people through it. For example, religion uses the fear of eternal punishment in hell. And politics use fear of wars, of explosions, of bombing other countries. And big pharma uses fear of illnesses and not finding the cure for certain illnesses and so forth. But you never really know if these big pharma is creating some illnesses and then the cure apparently, because again, they are supposed to benefit monetarily from these illnesses. And so, you know, why bring the person the cure when you can monetize from their illness until they die, right? You know, why, for example, why cure cancer, which can be cured right away, for example, if you can monetize the person's illness until they move on? And so the core message here from all these three different companies, I would say, they all use the same tactic, which is fear. Fear of being sick, fear of dying, fear, on the other hand, with politics of wars, and on the other hand, fear of receiving eternal punishment simply for not submitting to the laws of a organized religion.
But what would happen to evil people that die, that killed, like in World War II, Hitler and all of people like that, and whoever else kills? Like,
I do believe that these people are forced to reincarnate again. They could reincarnate either back on Earth, which they may not be able to remember their past lifetime, and so they might live a life in suffering, not knowing what happened. For example, there may be a lot of people who say, why have these things happened to me if I've always been a good person, you know, I've never done anything wrong. But that's not the problem here. The problem here is that maybe you're not able to recall what you did in a past lifetime, and that may be your hell, to suffer without knowing why. And this could be that you are paying for something that you did wrong in a past lifetime.
That does make sense. Now, do you know anything about the holographic universe, that outside the Matrix there's like archons that are like projecting some kind of screen, and they manipulate reality into making us think we are who we are, but exactly it's a bad copy of where we're living right now. Our reality is a bad copy of the original copy, if that makes sense.
I have not heard about that, but I have heard about a term that's quite similar about people living in reality without knowing that this is nothing but a dream. For example, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but if you guys have seen the movie Inception, I believe that Leonardo DiCaprio is a part of the movie. In this movie, it speaks about, in other words, about astral projection and implanting ideas into other people's minds based on the technology and the techniques that these trained people have. And it's pretty much very similar to what we are currently living in right now. I do believe that reality may be a dream within the dream, and that we may be somewhere else, perhaps somewhere across the universe, asleep, and that we are experiencing this reality, which may come across as some kind of virtual reality. Everything may seem real, but it may not be necessarily real.
Because according to some information I get, nothing is solid. It's all light. This whole thing is just lights and shadows, whatever you want to call it. This reality we're living in. Now, I was wondering if the general ever spoke of this.
He hasn't really spoke about that because his main focus is to help me to get through my fear of the race, of the reptilians, and the Greys, as well as the mantis-looking beings, because as some of you may know, or maybe you guys don't know, in his spacecraft there are more than one race working together. There's 3 different types of AT Greys who work together on this ship, and a group of mantis-looking beings, as well as a group of reptilians who are green-skinned reptilians working together with this large draconian group. For those of you wondering, draconians that I am in contact with are all mostly white. Some people call them the albino reptilians. I do not necessarily agree with that term because, again, I do believe that both are similar, but they are not one and the same race. So I do believe that they may be some kinds of cousins, in the sense that they may be similar in appearance, and perhaps they are even family, but are not directly one and the same race. And so the general has mainly focused on helping me to heal these fears and these traumas, especially the main trauma that I had from my abduction in 2009 by the Greys. The Greys that abducted me are not involved with the Greys that work for the general. But again, since there are beings that look very similar who work for him, well, it's normal that I have my panic attack when I see them. And so he wants me to help me to get through that fear first, before getting into other more complicated, esoteric, maybe, kind of subjects, if you will.
Okay, so the general, now, can we meet him? Are we able to meet this general?
It depends, because again, they are not people, or rather beings, that are very interactive with other people. The reason why they have shown themselves to me is to mostly help me on my spiritual journey. But some people have claimed that they were able to see him. And you may notice this on my website, where I share a lot of drawings that other people have done of the general for me. Some of these people have seen him during a dream state or before falling asleep. And so I do believe that it is possible that he may show up to certain people, but it depends on the circumstances and the intentions behind the person. Because again, they can read energy, and so they know when someone means good and when someone means bad. Because again, since they are from a higher frequency, since they reside in a higher dimension, they come from a place of unconditional love. So if someone with negative intentions approaches them, I don't think that they will show themselves to this person first, because they don't really match energetically, because the person is weighted down by their own negative, dense energy. And since they are in a much, much lighter frequency and come from this place of light and of love, well, they know who they are facing, and so they're not going to waste their time with someone that is toxic. And second, they may not show themselves to this person because since their energy can be very intense, their intention is not to harm the person or to traumatize the person in any way.
So these are what we could consider aliens in a flying saucer type ship?
Oh yes, yes. I would consider them aliens on spaceships, but again, not necessarily physical, because all my interactions with them have not been physical. In fact, they have all been at a non-physical level, like the astral plane, or in my dream state, or in my clairvoyant visions, if you will. Since I've never seen them physically, I can't be too sure about that possibility, if they can manifest physically or not. That is something that I don't know yet, but I am still open to the possibility that they may be able to manifest themselves physically, and perhaps even their own spacecraft as well.
So the thing is, what do you consider yourself? A hybrid, or star child, or human, or non-human?
I would consider myself a star child, because this is something more that has to do at a soul level. For those of you unfamiliar with the term star child or star seed, it's someone whose soul does not originate on Earth. These people, these beings, reincarnate on planet Earth for a specific mission or purpose, which is usually for the benefit of humanity and the planet itself as a whole. And so people, a lot of them tend to say and claim that I am a hybrid. But again, since this is something that I don't have physical evidence about, this is not something that I can prove. And I don't really think so. You know why? Because if I was a literal hybrid person right now, maybe I wouldn't even be here speaking with all of you guys tonight, and those of you turning in right now around the world. Because we all know that there is a dark aspect of the military, like the shadow military and the shadow government. And so it is common that a lot of people go missing every single year, and you just never know what has happened to these people. And I do believe that some of these people may carry alien DNA in their body, and so they may become interested in having these people for themselves to experiment on them. Again, this is something that I have been able to perceive myself. This is not something that is necessarily real, because again, I don't have the evidence, but this is something that I have been able to come to conclusion with after my experiences in the military. But again, I wouldn't consider myself a hybrid human, because again, this is something that I cannot prove. But I do believe that at soul level, at least, that I may be related to them in some way.
What about, they say, reptilians like Obama and the Queen, that you see them shapeshift because they can't stay in this dimension too long, and you see the eyes move and the slits coming out. What are your thoughts on this? Are these hybrid or really reptilians hiding in plain sight, controlling the world?
You know what? I don't rule out the possibility of this being real. But since again, and on the internet, it's very easy to stage videos and to Photoshop everything, even videos. I don't know if you guys are familiar that some celebrities, during their music videos, they can be Photoshopped even while they're moving. And so if this is possible, I have no doubt that it could be possible to stage certain videos featuring the Queen or Obama or other previous presidents. But of course, I don't rule out the possibility of this being real. But again, since everything has been shown on the internet, it can be a little bit tricky to distinguish truth from lies. But one time I had a dream with the Queen of England and the previous president, George W. Bush. And they were both shape-shifting, and they were both inside this room, like a waiting room inside an office. And I saw them both shape-shifting, and it didn't make sense to me as to why they were both together. So if I were to tell you if I do believe in shape-shifting reptilians inside the government and the royal family, that would be the only reason why I believe this, because I saw it in my dream state. And I'm not a person that I carry things with me to bed and then dream about them later on. I do believe that it could be a possibility, but since there is no clear evidence about it, because everything can be staged online, unfortunately, I can't give you an exact answer.
Speaking of stage, I know I'm getting off topic right now, just a little, but what are your thoughts, obviously, terrible, on the Orlando shootings? Because there's a lot of evidence that says it could have been staged.
Yes, there is a lot of evidence that it says that it could have been staged. For example, there is this video around running on the internet of a man saying that someone or several people were holding the doors shut so that no one could get out of the nightclub so that they could all get killed. But in that moment, the camera cut off the transmission. And the other day, my mom told me something very similar that she saw on TV. But in Spanish, it was a different person saying something similar. This person was saying that there had to be more people involved in the shooting in Orlando, because it's not possible that someone on their own could have, carried this huge gun, a rifle, I believe, and then a pistol or something like that, and shoot everybody. Like, there is so many people, dozens of people that were involved here, and then the standoff that this person had with the police or the SWAT, I believe. And so they were there for like 3 hours, and then nothing happened until 3 hours, excuse me.
It's okay, go ahead.
Lots of talking.
Yeah.
It can do that to you.
Yeah.
Are you near Orlando? Because I saw on Facebook that you were marked safe, and I was happy. That's what I want to ask you. Did you mark yourself, or was it somebody that marked? How does that work?
Well, it showed up on my cell phone. I woke up around 11 something in the morning, and it was my mom who woke me up to tell me that something terrible had happened. And so when I went on my phone, Facebook quickly tells me, we know that you're living in close to Orlando, and we want to know if you are safe because there was a shooting. And so I marked myself as safe. But when I went online, I saw that other people were also living close to my area, and you also had the option to mark them as either safe or that you did not know.
Okay, so then I guess that happens to ever around the world when there's some kind of disaster. Like, I can imagine when 9/11 happened, if Facebook existed, there would have been a lot of that. It's all right. For sure.
But you know what? There's a lot of things going on with the Orlando shooting. My mom and I were very, very sad over what happened because there were innocent people involved that we knew personally. And so in a way we knew that this was something that really, really happened. But we also don't discard the idea that it might have been staged or that the authorities are hiding something. Because again, there's a lot of things that don't fit in.
Could it be that they staged a false flag in order to take the guns away from America?
I have no doubt because, again, I'm not a Trump supporter. But as far as I am aware, I believe that he may have said something about reinforcing guns, like allowing people to have guns. I don't know if he was the one who said that. Like, he is not exactly against guns, but he is against the Muslims. And so this makes me think, what if this is all a political agenda going on to disarm the American citizens? Because, everything fits. There's a lot of people who hate the LGBT community. There's a lot of people who hate the Muslims. There's a lot of people who want to carry guns. But there's also a lot of people who don't want guns. So in a way, it kind of makes sense that this may have been a false flag to reinforce a agenda that the government has.
Well, I do believe that they want to bring in a new world order. And speaking of new world order, has the general ever spoken of a new world order that's supposed to happen on planet Earth eventually?
He has hinted about the new world order to me, but he says that they firmly believe that this is not going to happen because they are aware that a lot of people are waking up. And so this is not something that they really focus on because they highly believe that we have the power. And this is something that the general has always taught me ever since I met him. You have the power to be the change that you want to bring into the world. We don't have to interfere. We don't have to show up in your skies to let the entire human race know that we are here. This is all an individual journey, but it is up to all of you who are awake to awaken other people to the reality of the things that are happening in your world. And he has really, really focused a lot on waking other people up about the circus that politics can be, and the deception of religion and the lies behind Big Pharma. These are the three main things, as well as the foods going on with Monsanto controlling the food source and adding pesticides to the foods, perhaps to even add illnesses to people so that people can become sick and become dependent on Big Pharma. They all believe that everything is linked together for different agendas, but with the same goal, which is monetizing from the people. And so they want me to focus on awakening other people to what is currently going on. And so they do believe that since we have the power, that we will be able to prevent this from happening. Why? Because we are awake, we are always seeking knowledge, we are always seeking truth. And so they believe that we will be the ones who will prevent this from happening, and that they don't really have to interfere, because again, since we are the ones here right now, according to them, he told me, you know, you are the one who's currently there right now, so you are the one in charge of doing something, not us. And so it's your responsibility as a human being to do what you know is right. And doing what you know is right includes informing people about the things that are currently going on. Even if you sound crazy, it doesn't matter. People are still going to talk bad about you. But at the end of the day, it is up to you to wake other people up and bring in the light. Because the general insists that the world needs more light. And we can all start to bring in the light by doing our best, by becoming more public, more vocal about the things that we know, about any experiences if you have had ET contact, and to be more open and to not fear. Because the general is very, very persistent on that. He says that fear never gets anyone anywhere, and that it is our responsibility to stomp the fear and to march forward, pretty much.
Does the general have any type of time-traveling technology, like able to go into the future?
Not that I am aware of. No. As far as I am aware, at least they haven't really told me anything about that, so I can't really say.
It's too bad, because if you did, you could have told us who's going to win the elections. That would be something on the MnRTV Live Show.
But you know what? I am a psychic, and I can tell you this. American people are the most loving people. And, you know, I am a Puerto Rican myself. So you may notice that I have a funny accent, or I can't pronounce some things correctly. It's because English is my second language. But Americans are very loving people, and I know that America is not going to let hate consume the country. And, you know, it's not that I am choosing sides, but I am just utilizing common sense right now. And all the things that have happened lately in politics is only proving that hate may seem like it has an advantage over love, but at the end of the day, love is going to win. And of course, I understand that nobody wants Hillary Clinton either. I know I don't. But again, when you have to choose, I know that everyone is going to choose the opposite of narcissism, because Trump is pretty much another Hitler. It's like the modern Hitler that has come to the United States of America. And there's this rumor going on that people have said that the Antichrist is going to be a person from that area of Germany or somewhere over there. And they speak about this man that has light hair and light eyes, and that they're going to be coming to the United States, you know, acting as a sheep in wolf's clothing to convince the people. And then when they win the election, they're going to bring in the New World Order. That is something that I read online a long time ago, and it's kind of scary, but because when you compare it, the appearance is very close as to how Trump looks like. You know, he's got light hair. It's not because he's old, but, you know, and he's got light eyes, I believe. And so it makes sense that he perhaps maybe the Antichrist, or perhaps he's not. But again, with all the things that he has said and all the hate that he has spitted out at other people, it makes sense that America is going to take a stand, and it's not going to let hate take over. Because again, America is in high need of being repaired, of being healed. There's a lot of darkness in America with all the negative things that are currently going on, with people killing one another, and especially during the protests in politics and the campaigns and so forth. And so America really needs a change. America needs love. America needs light. And Hillary may not be the person that we all wanted in that place, but she may be the last option of, of the two evils, pretty much.
The thing is, have you checked the Illuminati cards? Because Donald Trump is in the Illuminati cards. If you ever heard of the Illuminati cards, they're like
I
cards.
have heard about them a lot of times, but I've never really been able to find all the cards to see what's in them.
Okay, I have a set, like an old set, but it talks about world. It's like a game and everything, and they have the Twin Towers getting demolished.
Yeah.
They have like this stuff happening, so they have Donald Trump in it. And Mario and myself, we dig deep into it, and we found out that according to the Bilderbergs, I've heard you heard of the Bilderberg group. Have you heard
You're
of that?
cutting off?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Have you heard of the Bilderberg group?
I have heard about them, but I'm not familiar with who they are.
Okay, it's a world order. It's like a group of the New World Order that meets up every year, and they decide world politics, and it's like the top people of the world, and they're just under the Illuminati because the shadow government. They just send in the representatives, but these people are like very powerful people anyhow, and they've chosen, according to this, Hillary to be the president of the United States.
Yes, and people still debate on who it's going to win because there's still a lot of pressure from both sides. But it's very obvious that everything has been rigged since the beginning. We all knew that even though Bernie Sanders was going to keep fighting on and on until the very last end, we all knew, or at least I knew, that he was not going to be able to make it because, I don't know, it was this intuitive feeling that I had within myself since the beginning that I knew that even though there was a lot of support for Bernie Sanders, I knew that the one who was going to keep the position was going to be Hillary Clinton. And when you connect the dots, it makes sense that she will be the one that's going to win. And who knows if Donald Trump was set up so that we would focus on her. Because again, everything is, there's always a purpose behind everything.
Do you know a lot about American presidencies? Because I've seen, maybe I'm wrong, but I've seen like a sort of a pattern. It's always like Democrats that win, then Republicans. Democrats and Republicans, 1 or 2 terms. So if Hillary would win, wouldn't it take out the cycle of being a Republican? Because now a Republican would be is due to win. But if she wins, it would be a Democratic. Have you noticed any patterns?
I really haven't noticed any patterns because I am not very familiar with American politics, but it's very similar as to how it happens in my country. In my country, Puerto Rico, we have 3 political parties. We have ones that would be like the Republicans, and then we have the ones who would be the Democrats, and then there's the ones who are independents. And the independents want the Iceland to be, like Cuba. They don't want to allow anybody in or anybody out, and they want to become independent from the United States and to grow their own food and pretty much depend on themselves and to reject any external help. And because of this, this specific political party has never been able to win the election. Because in my country, it's quite different. We don't have exactly a president, but the synonymous of a president in Puerto Rico would be a governor, which is funny because in the United States it's very different. But I do see a pattern here that it's always either red or blue. And it's funny because in my country, the colors are pretty much the same thing. It's red or blue. And always someone from either one of these two parties wins. And so I don't know exactly why. Maybe people are afraid of becoming independent, of not having external help from another country. Because, again, there's a lot of people who want to live off of welfare. And even though this is not exactly a bad thing, because at one point in my life I had to live, my family and I had to live off of welfare, because, again, living in America is very expensive. And eventually you will have to depend on the government to help you so that you can survive. I mean, how can you possibly pay a $900 rent with 2 jobs that only pay you $8 to $25 an hour? Well, not exactly 2 full-time jobs, but 1 full-time and 1 part-time. When you have then in some apartments to pay for the gas, electricity, sometimes the water, the internet cable, and your cell phones, and any other costs that you may have, like the car insurance, your health insurance, your food, and other things that may come into place. If you have a pet, that's another extra cost. So how can you survive without becoming dependent from the government? And so I believe that in the case of Puerto Rico, this may be a reason why nobody wants to become independent, because they know that they won't receive help and that they will have to struggle a lot to survive. So in this case, you know, we have President Obama. Let's put an example like health insurance, like Obamacare, or something like welfare, food stamps, or what have you. People are going to rely a lot on that because the majority of the American people don't have a PhD. And even if you do, that's another $30,000 debt, if not more. I mean, for a bachelor's degree, you would have to be paying about $30,000 in debt. And for a PhD degree, it would be approximately $80,000 to $100,000 in debt. So, of course, one of these two political parties is going to take sides on the issue because they want to control people through their pain points. But some of them, for example, the Republicans, are more stern. They want everybody to work and to not depend on their money, which is the people's money. And so the Democrats take advantage of that to convince the people to vote for them because they're going to receive the help that they're seeking. And I know that I've been rambling on and I probably don't make any sense, but this is something that's very interesting because it's like as if everything was already rigged so that we would be forced to pick a side, even though we know that neither one of them is really going to help us much at all.
It makes perfect sense what you say, you know, and I love the way you talk, and it's wonderful. I have another question for you. Let's go back on UFOs. Somebody in my audience is asking, is there any recent or many UFO sightings in Puerto Rico that you know of?
But I do know that in Puerto Rico is a UFO hotspot, and it's very common that there are UFO sightings in there, especially because in Arecibo, which is my hometown, we have the radio telescope, which is, I believe, the largest one in the world. And so there tends to be a lot of sightings around that area because it's, you know, we're pretty much spying on the stars or something like that. So they may get some kind of attention as to, whoa, what is happening over here? Let me visit this island and see what's going on. And on the other hand, we have El Yunque, which, if I am not mistaken, is a rainforest that we have in the center of the island, pretty much. And it's funny because El Yunque has a lot of areas that are prohibited from passing. There's a lot of people who can't go through certain areas because they have warning signs that you cannot cross because of this reason or that. And it's funny because a lot of people have gone missing in this rainforest, and nobody really knows why or how it happened. There was this very famous case, I don't know if it was, back in the 90s or the 1980s or something like that, there was a school bus that went missing with all the students, and I believe the teacher wasn't in the school bus. But when she knew that all the students and the school bus disappeared, she committed suicide because she could not live with the guilt. And so what this tells you is that there may be something else going on in El Yunque, that, you know, it's not just a rainforest. And it doesn't help that there is a lot of heavily militaristic forces in that area. And this is something that an expert from my country, Andrew Alvarez, said, that it was very interesting to notice that the heavy influence of the United States military in that area of El Yunque. He was referring to the U.S. Army. And he was wondering why were they there and what were they doing in this rainforest, because apparently there is nothing to search for in that rainforest. So why were they so persistent of being there and blocking some areas so that people wouldn't go to these areas of this rainforest? So there's a lot of rumors in Puerto Rico that there may be a large hidden base in El Yunque and perhaps even in Arecibo as well. But it's also rumored that there are bases under the ocean on the coast of Puerto Rico, which, because again, there has been a lot of UFO sightings, but I don't know how you call the ones who are in the ocean. I know that in Spanish it's another term, but in English there's a lot of underwater spacecrafts that tend to fly out of the ocean or some lakes. Those type of sightings can be more common than the aerial spacecrafts.
Submariners. They're called submariners, I think.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about the term. I know that in Spanish, a UFO is called an ovni, and I don't know the submarine spacecraft, but in Spanish they're called osnis. So, yeah.
And who's driving these crafts?
Mostly alien forces, I believe. I don't think that in my country there is these type of aerial experiments going on with the military. I do believe that the military may have already created some kinds of alien spacecrafts to distract the attention from the public, so that the public goes like, oh, that's just the Air Force testing some kind of ship, you know. But I believe that this happens more often in the United States than in Puerto Rico. I do believe that in Puerto Rico, the military forces tend to use the country, at least some areas of the country, for experiments when it comes to bombs. Like testing bombs and those types of guns, you know, because when the Marines were involved in Vieques, which is a tiny island next to Puerto Rico, which is part of the country of Puerto Rico, the Marines were involved there for several years. And so people were complaining that they were using the tiny island next to Puerto Rico for experimentation with bombs and other types of weaponry, and using the island as some kind of battlefield to practice drills and other types of things, and that people were becoming infected due to the chemicals that they were using in those types of weaponry and bombs.
You've been in military bases in the United States. Do you know which ones?
I don't know exactly which ones, especially since there are so many deserts around the United States. It's really hard for me to pinpoint exactly where I was, but I am very sure that it must have been somewhere in the United States. Maybe, simply because everyone that I came in contact with would speak in English, but it could have been somewhere else. But my initial impression was that these bases were in the United States. In one occasion, I was visiting a military base, not because I was conscious of it, even though I fell asleep with the intention of going to one, But when I arrived to this place, that's when I realized, oh, I'm not dreaming. I am astral projecting. Because no matter how hard I tried to manipulate the environment, it wouldn't change. So that's another way where you can know if you are dreaming or if you are astral projecting. Because when you're astral projecting, you are aware that you are not in your physical body. But when you try to manipulate the environment, you cannot do so. It's like everything is happening in real time. When it comes to a lucid dream, though, you are conscious that you're dreaming, but you can manipulate your surroundings. So that's a way where you can tell if you are astral projecting or not, or if you're just having a lucid dream or not. And so this time when I went to this military base, I walked in through the doors like a ghost. You know, I couldn't touch anything because I would pass through it over like a ghost. And so when I went to this base, instantly a soldier came by with a rifle and he pointed it at me. And so that's when I realized, oh, this is a soldier. He can't see me, but how in the world can he see me? But clearly he could see me, and it was because he was a trained soldier to be able to remote view certain types of bodies, you know, astral bodies or energy bodies that may not be human in nature. And so this soldier led me to another place of this base, and I was greeted by another soldier that could see me. But there were approximately a dozen other people who had different types of uniforms, and I was questioned by the other soldier who was I and what was I doing there. And I told them the truth that I had no idea what was going on with me or what was I doing there. And so they thought that I was having a dream, so they didn't really take it too personally or anything. But when 6 silver disc-shaped UFOs flew into the base, that's when one of the UFOs dropped a kind of like a squared-shaped device that was metallic and was covered in symbols that I could not comprehend or memorize. And so when I felt the need to touch it, I received this electrical energy that made me feel electrocuted. And so I dropped to my knees and I blacked out, and the last thing I heard was teleport her to another room with the weapon. And so this told me that these people have the technology to interfere with the astral bodies, to see them and to interrogate them and to even perhaps hold them for long periods of time, who knows for what reason or purpose. And so when I returned home from this experience, I saw myself lying face down in my bed. And so I told myself, you know what, if this is the only thing that I can remember, I want to know if I wake up in the same position. And so when I dropped and slammed into my body and I woke up in the same position, which was lying face down, resting my head over my forearms. And this confirmed me that I was able to do an astral projection, a trip to a military base. And because of this, eventually I started to witness black helicopters in my area, which wasn't very common at the time because I lived in an area where it wasn't, it didn't have constant and heavy air traffic. Because I lived in that place already 3 years before that. Because in between we were living in Florida, and then we had to return back to Puerto Rico because things were becoming very difficult for us to deal with and survive in the United States due to a lack of money and expensive apartments and so forth, and trying to become independent and not being able to do so, so we had to move back. And because of this, because of astral projecting to military bases, I started to witness black helicopters. And that's when they started to become interested in me, and that's when they started to take my astral body to the physical, rather the astral plane, to interrogate me or to torture me. They would use triggers of my trauma from the abduction in 2009 with the Grace, or they would even threaten me with my family, or they would just do horrible experiments on me, like taking blood out of me or forcing me to, you know, like doing electric shocks. They would put a helmet on me to produce electric shocks on me. And this was something that was very triggering because I would be electrocuted as a child in my dream state by a group of men who would force me to wear a helmet. And whenever they placed this helmet over me, this helmet would produce electric shocks all over my body, not just around my head. And so when I started to astral project to military bases to confirm to myself that this was something real or not, that's when I focused on a target that I wasn't familiar with, but that I could confirm later on by researching it online. That's why I chose going to military bases, not knowing that this was very, very serious. I was only 16 years old at the time. And because of this, I started to encounter the shadow military in my dream state. They would interfere with my phone. Whenever my mother called me, a man would answer instead of me. And whenever I called her or my aunt or somebody else, another person would answer. I would also receive calls at 3 in the morning. Either the number was blocked or it was a bunch of zeros or strange numbers that I knew were not coming from the United States or Canada or another country around me. And because of this, I eventually encountered the Men in Black and eventually a military man that questioned me about my actual experiences. He was highly interested in knowing about everything. Of course, I had no idea that he worked for the military until a year later. When he questioned me about my astral encounters, he said, "Thank you so much for all this information. It's going to be very helpful for our organization." And so he disappeared. A couple of days later, the blog that I had sharing all of my astral experiences was hacked and it completely disappeared from the internet. Now, going a year later, I encountered the same man again, and I decided to look up his name on the internet. And a very reputable source came up showing his face, an actual picture of him and his real name and everything. And that's when I discovered that he worked for the Air Force Base, the Wright-Patterson base in Ohio. And a lot of people have asked me what kind of ranks he's got, but unfortunately I cannot state what type of rank, but all I can say is that he does have a very respectable rank, especially because he's been working for a couple of decades in the Air Force. And if he's coming across this video right now, he may know that I am talking about him, but since I am not specifying who exactly it is, I am not exactly afraid of something happening to me because I am not being specific.
Have you ever been physically taken to a secret base?
I want to believe that I haven't, but I have had dreams where it's been suggested that I have. But again, since this is something that I cannot recall, I cannot really give an answer. And this is why I've always wanted to go for a hypnosis session, because I know that I will be able to finally discover all of the hidden memories, all the blocked memories that I may have had along the years. Perhaps this is something that has been going on since childhood, and perhaps I don't even know about it, because in my book, Connecting the Stars, I do share quite a lot of memories that I had since my childhood. But again, I cannot be too sure if they were all just dreams or if something else actually happened, and that was just my subconscious way of coping with what happened.
Military bases. Have you? Do you know of any in the United States that could be secret alien bases?
Dulce Base and the base in Area 51 are the ones that I believe are highly involved with alien experimentation. Some people, or rather a lot of people, tend to think that only experimentation on aliens is taking place in those bases, but that's not exactly what I've seen in the astral plane. I have seen that, especially, I'm not sure if it's in the Dulce base, but I remember seeing myself going down a drain or something like this. I don't know how to explain it exactly, like going into the sewers and just finding this underground place inside this, I don't know if I am saying that correctly, a sewer. I don't know the term about it, but if you guys know about the Ninja Turtles and where they live in and how they get in there, that's what I am trying to say, but I don't know about the term to refer to that. I don't know if it's called a sewer or something like that. But I remember going down a place similar to this one and eventually encountering in one of the tunnels under this place, which seemed to be underneath the road. And eventually I found this tunnel that led me to this very sterile white room. And in this room, there were dozens of metal tables with people and aliens lying down in all of these metal tables. And all of these people and aliens were being experimented on by the shadow military and a group of negative extraterrestrials. Like, the shadow government joined together with this negative group of extraterrestrials so that they could join forces and experiment on other human beings and other extraterrestrial beings that are actually benevolent in nature. And when I was in this base, or in this underground place, I saw myself lying down in one of those metal tables. And it gave me the impression that this person that I saw, which was myself, may have been an actual clone of myself in this space.
Are you able to remote view to Dulcie base if you wanted to? Could I do it, or is there a certain technique or power that you need to do such things?
I'm not a very good remote viewer. I feel that astral projection is much easier for me to do. I do believe that if you have the intention of doing so, you can, because that's how I started. You know, I started reading online techniques on how to astral project and how to do it properly. And so when I found out that the techniques that I was using weren't really working for me, I decided to mix certain techniques together and merge them all, because I believe that if you add your own energy to it, you can make it work if it's not working for you already. And that's how I started, you know, having the intention of astral projecting to a military base. And that's how I eventually started, you know, to be able to astral project to these places. And I believe that someone pointed out in the chat room that Puerto Rico is actually part of the United States and not a country. It is still a country because we still have our own government. But of course, it's normal that people tend to link it as another state of the United States due to the link that Puerto Rico and the United States have. They have this union that they call it the Free Associated State, in the sense that, yes, Puerto Rico is a part of the United States, but we still retain the flag of our own country and that we still retain our own government. Again, we still don't have the rights for too many things, like voting from our country for a president of the United States, but we are able to vote in America. But again, they are associated, but they are not exactly, Puerto Rico is not exactly a state. That is actually a common debate that is taking place right now with current elections going on in Puerto Rico. If Puerto Rico is going to eventually become officially a state of the United States, or if the citizens of Puerto Rico want the country to remain dependent from America, but independent in the sense of not becoming an official state of the United States, as far as I am aware.
I have a question in the chat room. Where is it? Does she think that the chupacabra may exist in the rainforest?
You know what? There's a lot of things that point out that yes, because there wouldn't be so much military security in this rainforest. You know, there wouldn't be, you know, like so much drama going on, like, oh, you can't go to this place. You know, here's a red sign telling you to not trespass this red sign. You know, there's a lot of things that weren't present decades ago in this rainforest. So that tells you that the military aspect of the United States have been heavily involved in Puerto Rico. Who knows for what purpose or reason? But I do believe that the chupacabra may be involved in some way, because you may know that the chupacabra originated in Puerto Rico, I believe, back in the 1990s. And so even though there have been reports in several places around the country, you just never know exactly what is hiding in this rainforest due to the areas that were previously open for the public, but what do you know, all of a sudden they're no longer open to the public. So there may be something else going on that we are not being told about.
That's true. Now, what is that? It's a creature, right? For our audience that may not know what we're talking about.
The chupacabra is a very complex creature because there's a lot of people who describe it in different ways, but we all agree on something. We all agree that it's definitely not something that is from this planet. We believe that it's something that is, in fact, extraterrestrial in nature, especially due to some descriptions that depict the chupacabra as a being with red eyes and spines, very, very sharp spines, like the porcupine, kind of, but like having a line of spines going from the top of his head down to his back and the end of his spine and a tail. I believe that some people have claimed that the chupacabra has a tail. And so this tells me that the chupacabra may not be necessarily human, and there hasn't really been any more reports of the chupacabra, but it tends to happen on seasons. You know, sometimes everything would be quiet for some period of time, but then in another period of time, people would start reporting, you know, like chickens usually are targeted, which is funny because the chupacabra is English for goat sucker. I mean, Spanish for goat sucker. So it doesn't really make any sense that they call it this way, because the chupacabra usually targets chickens, but there's also reports of other animals being targeted. The funny thing about this is that if it was a wild beast from the country, let's say like the Loch Ness Monster, for example, it wouldn't make sense because you wouldn't kill an animal so perfectly. For example, these hens, for example, would have marks of being bitten, for example, by a vampire. Let me drink some water here.
Go ahead. Yeah, for sure. Mario, it's very interesting, eh? The information we got.
Yeah, definitely. I love it.
Yeah, so many questions. Like I have so many questions that pop up, and then I come to ask them, and I forget. Then I think of it, you know. Yeah, exactly. What did I have to say? Yes. Are you okay? Well, hopefully you're okay. Your voice there.
Yeah, it's just that, you know, I don't know. I was feeling better today, but I don't know what happened. But yeah, I believe it could have been a project that went wrong, like an animal that's been genetically modified. I know that recently there was a news going on about I don't know if the term is chimera, something like that, which is about, I don't know if it's merging or mixing human and animal DNA. I'm not so sure about that term, but it's been talked about that this has already been ongoing for years, if not decades, and now they are releasing it to the public, and it's causing an outrage between the people, because the people are saying that the government or whoever is in charge are playing God, and that they shouldn't really mess with Mother Nature. And so the chupacabra may be an example of a genetically modified project that went wrong and escaped. But we never really know if it's just one, or if it multiplied, or if they did more than one.
I have a question. If at Dulce Basin, Area 51, they have all these aliens captured in, what for? How come these aliens never get extraterrestrial? They never escape? What's the purpose of creating them if they never let them loose on the world?
Usually aliens are captured so that they can be forced to procreate hybrids with other humans that are held captured in these bases. And so, I don't know, this is just an intuitive feeling, of the things that I have seen. But I do believe that there may have been aliens, again, like the UFO crashes. You don't know if these ETs that have crashed were benevolent, but they were captured by bad guys, like the Shadow Military and another group that may not be necessarily benevolent ET race. And so they may be, held down in these bases for experimentational purposes. Like mixing, exchanging limbs between a human and an alien to see if it will work out. For those of you familiar kind of with the movie The Human Centipede, this may make a little bit of sense, with just stitching people together as a human centipede, pretty much. And so I wouldn't doubt that some of these experiments have to do with stitching together certain parts of certain aliens or humans into a body to see what comes out of this experiment. And I know it sounds very graphic, and I apologize for that, but this is something that could be a possibility, as well as forcing a non-willing humans and ETs that were not visiting Earth for a negative purpose to procreate hybrids as well, because the Shadow Military has hybrid children that they use for further experimentational purposes, or perhaps for undercover operations that the public may not even know about. And I say this because I have 2 hybrid children that I saw in a military base a couple of years ago, and I knew that they were mine, but I knew that they were also not mine because they were being held there in this military base. And I knew that these children, these 2 kids, were going to be used perhaps for either an experiment, or that they were perhaps going to be used to have their abilities exploited by the Shadow Military.
They're your children. Was the father alien?
I think it may have been an alien because their eyes were larger, kind of like the Greys, that they were large, but they were humanoid because the eyes had the iris and the round pupils. It's just that the eyes were much bigger than a human's, and their heads were slightly larger than normal, but their bodies were small and delicate. So if I were to make a wild guess here, I would say that the father may have been a Grey.
So did you ever meet the father? Is this how it works?
No.
It's not normal human relations. It's how DNA. They just take blood and all that stuff and mix it all up.
Yes, as far as I am aware, I've never had intercourse with a Grace, at least. They have done things very respectfully, even though it's been traumatizing. But they have been always very respectful and very gentle while impregnating me artificially by injecting the fertilized egg through my belly button. So they have never really invaded my body in the sense of raping me, unlike the mantis-looking beings which have had intercourse with me by force. And this is something that I am still healing from, which is exactly why the general wants me to work through my fear and my trauma so that I can heal from these traumas that I had. Because he said that I cannot live a life in fear. They don't like that energy, and so they want me to eliminate that from my system. But when I think about it years back, the difference between the Greys and the Mantis that were service to self, because again, not all the Mantoids or the Greys are evil. Those who were service to self, the Greys were still, even though they were invasive with me, they were more respectful, if you will. I know that there isn't really a word to justify what they did to me, but comparing the Greys and the Mantoids, the Greys were more detached. They were like just doing their job, and they don't want to harm me, they don't want to traumatize me, they don't want to touch me in any kind of way. They just want to get the job done and just get over it. But the Mantoids were more invasive. They had to, I don't know if this specific group didn't have the technology advanced enough to impregnate me artificially, but they were more physical. if you catch my drift.
I do, I do. Speaking of which, is there any female aliens that could do this to men too? What's happening to you? That they'll need our sperm to create babies?
Oh yeah,
Could we get
definitely.
could we get kidnapped and being sent like off a ship or something? Is this
Yes, it is a possibility. I don't know too much about cases, but in men that may have had these type of encounters for this specific purpose of having hybrid children, but it is very possible. There are cases where the females may have intercourse with the man naturally so that she can become impregnated naturally. But then there's also other cases where the man has to be on a metal table, and then a group, or maybe it will be just one being, would take care of putting this I don't want to be too graphic here, but they would put this thing or the man's private part so that it would pump it up until the man would, have a climax, and, so that they could collect the sperm. And in some occasions, the person would even have to have screen memories so that the person could become excited and not become frightened of the actual process.
do these female aliens look anything female, or how do they
Oh,
look?
yes. Some of them are very androgynous, meaning that they look neutral. You can't really tell if they're male or female. But then there's others that look very female in the sense that their bodies may have more curves. Some of them may have breasts. And if you see them naked, they would have a normal-looking private part, just like women from Earth do.
But it wouldn't be scary. It wouldn't be like, oh my God.
It would be scary if you're not used to seeing a female gray with breasts,
Yeah.
because that can be very disturbing for some people. It's something very different from what we're used to seeing. So that may be your impression because it's, oh wow, a female gray. But the private parts themselves are pretty much very similar to our own.
I see. They're very, very, very interesting. What's the end game? Why are all this hybridization? Is it something that the aliens are going to take over the world? Because I've heard that that's why they're doing this. They're building up their army slowly, slowly to kind of come up and take over us.
You know what? I don't think so, because there's approximately 7 billion human beings on this planet. And the funny part about this is that they would have had more than enough people to procreate hybrids all at the same time and have a huge army of hybrid children already. And the reason why I don't believe this is a possibility is because it would have been done already a long time ago, especially due to the enormous quantity of human beings that currently inhabit this planet. If we were just talking about 100 people that were living in the entire planet, well, that would be another story. In that case, I would say, well, maybe it's an idea that makes sense. It could be a possibility. But being that there's 7 billion human beings, it would have been more than enough to create at least 1 billion hybrid children. Stating, let's put an example that there's just 1 billion human beings that are adults. One example, or 5 billion. It would have been already more than enough to have an army of hybrid children to take over planet Earth. I do believe that the reason why they're doing this is to save their own race. Perhaps because they they enjoy experimenting, because some races are very, very great at engineering and DNA engineering and manipulation and so forth. So it could be a possibility that they could be doing this either because they want to procreate hybrid children just to experiment how this would turn out to be, or as a way to save their own race in case their race is coming to an extinction.
Yeah, that makes good sense. But do you think there's aliens walking among us, like in the streets?
Well, since I've never really encountered one, I can't really say, but I'm not going to rule out that possibility either, because there's a lot of aliens that look very much like us. Take, for example, like the Nordic-looking extraterrestrial beings that are usually the tall ones with blue eyes. Sometimes their eyes are a little bit larger, but not so noticeable. And there's other types of human-looking ETs that may not even be blondes. I mean, the people tend to limit everything into one type of group. But honestly, there are extraterrestrial beings that have dark skin, dark hair, and dark eyes. So there's a lot of variation out there, and whether it's a possibility or not, I don't know, but I wouldn't rule it out either, because anything is possible.
How did they get here, the aliens on the ships? Do they manipulate time and space, time warp, a different planet, a different dimension? How does that work?
I would say that they may use wormholes as a shortcut to get to planet Earth. I know that people tend to think of it that way, like aliens are from the future, so if they're here, it's because they travel back in time. And even though that may be a possibility, I do believe that they are very, very present. They are not necessarily from the future. So the way that they would come here to Earth would be by taking shortcuts through the wormholes.
You mean through the universe?
Yes.
Because where do they come from? It must be far away from the Earth.
They usually come from certain star constellations. Some people tend to take it too literally, because some people have said, but Sirius is too young to harbor life. And my answer would be, well, they don't really have to live there physically, literally speaking. They could come from a dimension that is literally in that place, which makes it more than stable for them to live there, because, again, not all of them are three-dimensional beings. Most of them are of a higher frequency or from another dimension, in other words. So they don't necessarily reside there physically, literally speaking, but they could reside there in another dimension that's located in that specific star constellation. But it could be anything, you know, there's plenty of galaxies and different types of universes out there, so maybe they even come from another plane of existence or another type of universe, not necessarily a constellation within or close or even near or far from our solar system.
Have you ever encountered like an alien, like a different type of alien, like anywhere?
Not physically, but I have encountered them. No, not physically. I can say that as far as I can recall, I've never really had physical interaction with ETs, in exception for my abduction in 2009 with a Grace. For those of you who may not know, my family witnessed a UFO in 2009, back in summer, June. I think it was 14 or 19 of 2009. I was the only one unaware in my apartment of what was going on outside. And when I went to my bedroom, I saw something out of the corner of my eye standing outside my window looking back at me. But when I looked and I made eye contact, it wasn't there. And I was like, well, maybe this is just a night trick because, hey, we are living on a third floor, so it doesn't make sense that someone is standing outside my window. But I felt watch, and this was something that I never really felt before in my life. And so I went to my living room, and I still felt watched because, again, the window of my bedroom and the balcony in the living room were both facing towards the same place. And so I still felt watched. And because of this, I was panicking until my family arrived and they told me that they saw a UFO. Because of this, I had an interest of researching more about alien life and the UFO phenomena. And skipping a couple of months later, we had to move back to Puerto Rico because things were not working out for us in the United States, and it was becoming very, very difficult for us to survive on our own, you know, each one with a job. At the time I was a minor, I was studying. So back in November of 2009, one night I was wide awake, I couldn't fall asleep, and I was very upset because I wasn't falling asleep anytime soon. It was 5 in the morning, it was storming outside, and I had the strangest feeling that something was going to happen. And I think this was what was keeping me awake, because I was feeling highly, highly anxious, something that I never really felt before. And next thing I knew, a lightning struck, and it lit the entire room, and that's when time seemed to have frozen. And that's when I became aware of three figures standing at the end of my bed, and when I looked, there were three gray beings wearing black uniforms, and they were approximately 4 feet tall, and I became aware that my body was becoming paralyzed fairly quickly. And at the time, I wanted to roll over to fall off the bed and run away. But when I did, when I rolled over and fell off the bed, I blacked out, and there was a 2-hour missing time that I still cannot recall.
Do you know of any alien abductions that happen, that the aliens take the people to their own planets and they're never to be returned? I've read some stuff online.
Yes, I have also read some stuff about that online. You know,
Very.
I'm not ruling out that possibility because, again, there's a lot of people that go missing every single year, and their bodies never appear. So we don't really know what has happened with these people and their bodies. You know, there could have been a lot of things. You just never know if these people perhaps were kidnapped by the cartels, the drug lords and such, or by the shadow government for experimentation done by the shadow military, or if these people were simply abducted and that they would never return. Since these topics are, you know, they make a lot of sense, but since we don't really have a lot of evidence about it, because again, these people never return, so we can't really know or have a story or an experience from a person who was taken and then later on returned years later, we can't really say for sure if this is real or not, but I am always open to considering other possibilities.
I have a question here. Do you believe that the theory that the universe is expanding and will one day contract, the big crunch?
I do believe that the universe is expanding. If I am not mistaken, I feel that NASA may have said something about the stars expanding and moving away, and certain stars having to burn brighter to be able to emit more light because they cannot somehow perceive the other stars near them. And because of this, the sky, quote unquote, is dimming because the universe is expanding. And apparently there's a theory that says that even the moon is slowly moving away from Earth, which may eventually cause a couple of catastrophes, especially when it comes to the waves of the ocean, because since the moon apparently controls the waves of the ocean, the further away it is, the more chaotic the ocean will be. So I do believe that it may be a possibility that the universe is expanding.
No, and it'll come back on itself and crunch.
It could be that, but again, that's going to take a couple of million years to happen.
Okay, and the general, is he from this universe or this dimension? Has he mentioned anything like this?
I believe they are from the 9th dimension, so they are not exactly, yes, they are not exactly physical beings. And if you were to ask me, you know, how do they live in that dimension, well, they don't really rely on food. They no longer eat because their main source of food is light. And just like the plants depend on the sunlight, they receive sunlight as their main energy for food, as a food source and energy. And this explains the theory that not all of them are evil simply because their appearance is frightening. They have been evolving, and that's why they showed up on the first place, to wake me up from that cloud of deception and manipulation that I was in. Because at the time I had several people that would try to convince me that an extraterrestrial was evil because, oh, they look ugly and they look scary. And there's a lot of judgment, a lot of racism, a lot of preference, and a lot of worship of certain ET races. Like, I have been noticing that in the New Age community and the spiritual community, those blonde-looking beings, like the Pleiadians, as some people call them, they tend to be put in altars, if you will. Some people tend to worship them, which I found very, very crazy, but this is something that happens, and I don't think this is a good thing, because it's pretty much like the Christian religion, where you worship angels and you worship anything that's, that seems pretty or attractive or anything, and then you demonize everything that you don't know about. And going back to the subject here, the general has come through to help me through this very, very subject that seems to be still very, very common. And so their ways of living is very much absorbing the sunlight, because they have a sun on their planet, and they do believe in a higher power. Not exactly Jesus Christ, but they have told me, whatever floats your boat, whoever you feel like following, as long as you believe that there is a higher power, because there is. And they have been the ones who have helped me to develop this connection to what I call now source. And they do believe in this higher power. They do believe that we were all created for a specific purpose, and so their mission is to empower me to help empower other people to be open about their experiences and to not be afraid of being judged or rejected or ridiculed, because at the end of the day, people are still going to talk and criticize you whether you do something or not. And so as long as I am able to inspire other people by sharing my story and my experiences, I am fulfilling my mission, which is what they have pointed out to me. And again, people judge the general because, again, I have the book here in case some of you have not seen him. He is a white draconian being with red eyes, and so it's normal that people are going to freak out, like, oh my gosh, it's evil, he's got red eyes and slit pupils, What can you expect from someone that looks intimidating and he's got a uniform to top it off? And so this is a thing that I want to clear up for everybody. And, you have to give them a chance, because you just never know for what purpose they are approaching you. It's just like someone on planet Earth, you have to give a chance to people to, to get to know them first before judging very quickly. And so the mission here is to empower people to destroy their fear, is the message of these draconians that have come through. If you were to ask me what it is that they do, they are very much a protective force, similar to a police force or a benevolent group of military beings, except the corrupted part and the shadow part of it. In their case, they are only there to serve and to protect, but again, they are not involved in the evolution or the destruction, as some people claim, of planet Earth. They are mostly focused on helping other planets that may be less evolved than their planet is, to protect them from other extraterrestrial forces that may come around to attempt to conquer these planets or to attempt to annihilate these beings from other planets. They know that the reason why they don't interfere with planet Earth is that they know that there are other beings. They have not disclosed to me who they are, but they say that planet Earth is very, very protected, and that there is no need to fear of an extraterrestrial invasion. In fact, they have told me that the threat is coming from within Earth, and that it's humankind that's going to bring itself to destruction if we don't do something about it.
Who doesn't do it? The general?
The general has referred to that we are the ones who can save ourselves, that we don't need to fear of an extraterrestrial race invading our planet or conquering us, because that's not going to happen, because we are protected. However, we have to protect ourselves from the threat that is already within the planet. They're speaking about the shadow government, the shadow military, religion, and big pharma, which they are all operating from a fear-based point of view to control people through fear. And so they want me and other people to inform other people and create this rippling effect so that more people wake up and look for other alternative ways of healing themselves and of connecting with Source without the need of religion, and to stop following the trends and the political circuses that tends to happen very often in television.
Are we able to go and see them in the 8th dimension where they come from?
Can you repeat the question?
Are we able to go see the general in the 8th dimension of where they come from?
You may be able to if you are able to astral project. If you are open to their energy, if you don't have fear, you may be able to see them. Because again, if you have a little bit of fear within yourself, they're not going to show themselves to you because they don't want to harm the person or to frighten them in any kind of way. They are very respectful of that, and it doesn't matter how much you persist to them to show themselves to you. If you still have fear, whether you're aware of it or not, they're not going to show themselves to you until you truly are prepared.
And how is this 8th dimension? Have you ever been there?
I have never been there because my astral body cannot tolerate it. The energy is very, very intense. It's like it feels like flying over the limit of the feet. You know, like there's a certain limit where you can't go higher up with an airplane. So that is exactly how it feels like for me. It feels like this huge pressure in my chest area where I cannot breathe properly. And so because of this, they don't really take me and my astral body to their dimension because even my astral body cannot tolerate it. So they prefer to show themselves to me in a dream state or to take my astral body to their ship if they are in a dimension that's closer to my own.
So you've been in another dimension?
Yes.
It's different from here.
It feels very different, but it doesn't look different.
Is there such things as war and stuff like that?
Wars, they're not existent anymore in their planet because they have this whole structure of serving other people. So they always have and maintain this balance between the people. And if they see that someone is becoming violent and service to self, they try to come into an agreement with them to hopefully enlighten the other being, or if it's a group that's trying to be service to self, they try to rationalize with these beings to see if they can continue living in peace. But just because they are peaceful beings does not mean that they are not prepared in case something bad happens or a threat happens to them.
How many dimensions is there?
I can't really give you a number. I am guessing that there's too many that maybe we don't even know about. Countless.
Because I heard scientists said about 11 now they discovered. Physicists.
Yes, I've heard about 11 dimensions that have been discovered, but I am sure that there are plenty more. But I'm not sure exactly how many.
These dimensions, do they encompass our universe or the multiverse?
I believe they are multiverse. I don't think that they even may be related in some way. I do believe that they are all separate and they all have their own different. Yes, like they all have their own different universes or multiverses, however you want to call it. Very, very different from the one that we currently live in.
Okay. In closing, is there anything you want to say to our viewers, your show, anything you want to add that I might have forgotten to ask?
I just want people to know that there's so much judgment toward these beautiful beings just because they look different. But I want to empower those of you who may be afraid of them to give them a chance and to not be so quick in judging them, because I believe that they have a very positive and loving message to give to you if you decide to be open to them, to their presence, and to their energy. In my case, I was refusing to contact the general, which is funny because I drew him 6 months before meeting him in the astral plane. And when he showed up to me, I was very resistant to him. But when I started to be more open to him, I found out that his message is a message of love, of unconditional love, I would say, and of having no fear of being you, of being different, of being your true authentic self and not fitting yourself into a mold just to make other people happy or to fit in with society. We have all been created and crafted by this source that some of us call God in a very different way, and so we shouldn't fit ourselves into somebody else's mold because we are insulting the Creator. And this is something that the general told me, and it was a very interesting perspective when he put it that way. And my intention is to bring in comfort to the people that may be afraid of these beings and to help you all to heal and to consider other points of view and to embrace your own experiences, even if they are similar to other people or very different. Just because they're different doesn't mean that they are any less valid. I have been discredited by so-called experts who have attempted to silence me simply for having different experiences, for not having physical alien contact, for not having physical marks in my body, and for being too young. Pretty much I was told the other day that I've only been an adult for 10 minutes and that I shouldn't talk about something that I don't know about. And I feel that many people may come across something like this at some point in their journey, and I want you all to know that only you know what happened, and that you shouldn't let other people, no matter how expert they are or how well known they are or how many interviews they have been in, to never let them influence you and your experiences, because at the end of the day, only you know what happened. And as long as you know what happened, there is no need for anybody else to tell you otherwise. Again, there is a grand manipulation and a grand deceit going on to disempower people from speaking about their experiences. Remember that not every expert is service to others. There are undercover people who may be disinformation agents who want to keep hiding the truth from being known. And so I want you all to be empowered. The general and his crew want me to lose my fear of speaking up about my experiences, and I am sure that they also want this for all of you who are tuning in right now. Their message is a message of love, to love yourself, to love other people, to help planet Earth in any way that you can, to wake other people up with everything that you know about, and to be empowered, to not live your life in fear, because fear is the weapon of the dark ones. And so we have to destroy that fear with our own inner light.
And your book's coming out tomorrow.
Yes. So those of you interested in my book, Connecting the Stars, if you guys have enjoyed this interview so far, I will go into much more detail on the book, Connecting the Stars, which is going to be released tomorrow, June 16. Again, it's only going to be available on paperback. I am still working on the Kindle version, but I am hoping to release it within the month. So those of you wondering, yes, it's going to be available on Kindle, but not tomorrow. But in the meantime, you will be able to enjoy the paperback version of Connecting the Stars, and as well to become more familiar with the work that I do, in case you are curious or not too convinced if this is something that you should purchase or anything. My free information that's available online, especially on my YouTube channel and on my website, you will be able to find more information about myself and the work that I do. If those of you who are interested in purchasing a copy of my book or an autographed version of my book, you can sign up on my website, zionzeta.com/waitlist. All you have to do is put your name and email address and you're good to go. You will be the first one to know any kinds of updates that I make on the book, as well as when the Kindle version is going to be available if you're interested in the Kindle version.
Well, thank you very much, Zion, for coming on the MnRTV show. It's been a wonderful show, and we are very glad to have you on, and I can't wait to get your book. It's going to be wonderful to have your book, and I want to thank you again from the bottom of my heart, and Mario also, right, Mario?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
I wanted to thank you both, Robert and Mario, so much for giving me a space. This is something else that I wanted to point out here. Not many people who are, experts at hosting radio shows give me a chance of speaking up, simply because, again, I'm too young. I don't have decades of experience. So I feel truly blessed that both of you have given me this chance, this wonderful opportunity to be the voice for other people and to reach out to more people. And I couldn't be more eternally grateful for both of you and for everything that both of you have done for me. And I wanted to thank you both so much, and I send you so much love from my heart to you guys.
Thank you very much, and we'll have you back at some point. Thank you very much for coming on the MnRTV Live Show, and this video will be linked up. I'll send you a link once it's done. That's all good.
Yes, the replay is going to be available for those of you who may be wondering, so don't worry about it. I know that Rob and Mario do an excellent job to have everything set up and ready.
Yes.
All right. Yes, thank you very much, and we'll talk soon again. Have a good night.
You too, Robert and Mario. Much love to both of you, and have a beautiful night and a beautiful rest of your week.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Yes.
Well, that was a wonderful, enlightening show. I mean, we had a ton of information, and it's just, you know, I think everything went perfect. I think we answered all the questions. She spoke very well about what's going on, and you know, I mean, I can't wait to get the book. I mean, all I do is I read books, so that's gonna be another book that I'm gonna add to my list of reading to be done, because you know I love reading, don't you? Researching.
Yes. Yes, you love doing that.
So I guess that's it for this week. Anything you want to add?
No, that will be it. We'll be back soon, perhaps next week or the week after, but we'll be back, and we want you back too, everybody.
Next week,
everybody.
We'll be back next week, God willing, and that's it for now. So until then, have a good week, folks, and we'll be back next week, unless we get kidnapped and sent to Dulce Base or Fever camps, which we highly doubt will happen. You never know. All right, have a good.
All right, thank you. You guys are the greatest. Good night. Bye.